If you were to ask most people this question, they would normally say, yes, you should change your passwords regularly. The rationale is that if you change your passwords regularly, then if an attacker obtains it, they've only got a small window of time in which it's actually valid. Now this makes sense from a very sort of mathematical perspective. Password is only valid for the period in which it hasn't been changed. You'll see this guidance shared quite extensively. So for example, OneLogin provides a single sign-on service, and in September 2016 they had a data breach. Now, a data breach for a single sign-on service is really worrying. So they sent out some advice to all their customers, and one of the things that they said is that every 30 days you should renew your passwords. Go and change it. Now, unlike many corporate environments which tend to enforce a password change around about every 90 days, in OneLogin's case, they're just saying, look, it's good practice, you should do it. Here's another one. This is from the USCERT, so the government's Computer Emergency Response Team. It's one of their security tips, and it's pretty consistent with the OneLogin advice. And again, if you work in a corporate environment, you probably see this as a hard and fast rule. You will literally be challenged to change your password every, say, 90 days. Government advice, so it's all very official. Let me show you another government though. This is from GCHQ in the United Kingdom. So this is British intelligence, and they're saying something quite different. They're saying that if you regularly change your password, it will harm rather than improve security. This is very contradictory advice. This is the exact opposite to what the US government and OneLogin and an untold number of corporations are telling their employees to do. How does this make sense? It's actually very pragmatic advice, and here's the reasons why it works. First of all, if your password is stolen by an attacker, they normally don't wait to use it. They want to get in there straight away. And particularly if they know there's any sort of password rotation scheme, they're going to exploit it as fast as they can. We're going to be looking at minutes or hours, not months, which is what these normal password cycle cadences protect you from. The other problem is that when you continually force people to change passwords, they're going to change them to very minor variations. If you're listening to this and you're in an environment which forces you to change it, you're probably nodding. You've almost certainly done this yourself. I have certainly done this myself, because that is the social reality of forcing a secret to change regularly. We're going to take shortcuts to try and make it practical. Now, what GCHQ has said is that rather than trying to put the burden of protecting accounts back on the end user, the organisations who own the services that those accounts are on should do a better job of looking after them. They've said that we need to do monitoring better. We need to do a better job of identifying unusual use. We need to flag both failed and successful login attempts. And all of this is really a much more mature way of looking at how we monitor accounts. Forcibly recycling passwords is a very academic exercise. It ticks a box on compliance requirements, but it is of very questionable practical value. And in many cases, it proves to be counterproductive. It actually makes things worse. Now, regardless of whether you agree with me or not on that statement, what is very interesting about this is how polar opposite two very official bodies can be on how we should manage our passwords. And it demonstrates just how far away we are from getting consensus on good account management practices. So that's passwords and authentication. Let's go and summarize the module.